Hey everyone, so we're going to continue our discussion with radicals where we're going to talk about dividing radicals. This is actually the very last thing. Now, a lot of the stuff that we're going to say is very similar to what we talked about with multiplying radicals. Once again, we're still going to have three steps. The first step is just like before, we're going to divide the coefficients. Now, unlike with the multiplying where we actually tried to simplify the radicals first to make the math easier, here we're actually going to do the opposite and not simplify until the very end. So when we divide the coefficients, we have 4x squared divided by 8x, and then we end up having the radical 16x to the fifth divided by radical 2x. Now, from there, the 4x squared divided by 8x just simplifies to x over 2. And then we move on to the second step, which is divide the radicands. So just like before, where when we multiplied, we combined those terms underneath the radical and multiplied. Here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn into one giant square root and have the 16x to the fifth divided by 2x underneath it. From here, we can see that we can do 16 divided by 2 to get us 8, and x to the fifth divided by x to get us 4. So we're going to have this x over 2 divided by times the square root of 8x to the fourth. Then the last step again is simplify the radicals. So 8x to the fourth can be rewritten as 4 times 2, 8 x to the fourth. 4 is a perfect square, so that ends up being 2x squared times rad 2. And then we're going to multiply this by the x over 2 that we had before. 2 divided by 2 is just 1. And then we end up having x times x squared, which gets us x cubed. So my final answer will be x cubed times square root of 2. All right, and that's pretty much it. So here are the first two questions. Pause the video, work stuff, and we'll go over in a second. All right, so first thing that we want to do, again, is we want to divide these two coefficients. And I'm also going to skip sort of to the second step and bring the 40x to the fifth and the 5x cubed in underneath the same radical. So we have 10 divided by negative 2. This ends up being negative 5. And then I'm going to take the square root, divide these, which would be 40 divided by 5 gets us 8. And x to the fifth divided by x cubed gets us x squared. From here, once again, I can actually simplify this. It's very similar to what I had before. So x can be rewritten as 2 times 4. 4 times x squared, that's a perfect square. So the square root of that will be 2x. So we get negative 5 times 2x times rad 2, which gets me negative 10x rad 2. For number 2, same thing. We have the 5w squared divided by negative 5. And then underneath the radical, we have 28r to the fifth divided by 7r cubed. This ends up simplifying to be negative w squared. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. And r to the fifth divided by r cubed is r squared. So we do this, and once again, take the square root of this. This is actually a completely perfect square of 2r. So we end up having negative w squared times 2r, which gets us negative 2rw squared. All right. This is actually one of the reasons why we tend not to simplify the radicals first, because a lot of times it simplifies itself through the division. Here's the next set. Pause video work itself, and we'll go over in a second. All right, so the first thing that we want to do with number 3 is we kind of want to split it up into two parts. So we have 15 rad 8 divided by 5 rad 2, and we have 5 rad 24 divided by 5 rad 2. So when we do this, we do the steps simultaneously. So we do 15 divided by 5, and then square root 8 divided by 2. And then when we have this term, we do the same thing, 5 divided by 5, square root of 24 divided by 2. So we have all this together, and we do the math one by one. 15 divided by 5 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 24 divided by 2 is 12. So we get 3 rad 4 minus rad 12. Rad 4 is just 2. I think there's a typo here. This should be a 3. So I'll just fix that here. This should be 3 rad 2. And then this one just ends up being rad 4 times 3. So let me just do the math real quick. This should be 6. This is minus 2 rad 3. So this should be a 6. All right. Now for the last question, number 4. So one here, it's actually already split up for me. So I'm just going to go right to the combining everything under one radical. So we have 150x squared divided by 3 and the 48x cubed divided by 6x. 150 divided by 3 ends up being 50, and 48 divided by 6 is 8. And so we end up getting this, rad 50x squared minus rad 8x squared. Both these can be split up into their perfect square. So this becomes 2 rad 25, and this becomes 2 times 4. 25x squared are perfect squares, which will be 5x, and this will become 2x. Now, because these have like terms, both having an x rad 2, I can combine and subtract their coefficients to get 3x rad 2. And that's pretty much it. So again, the steps are pretty much identical to multiplying, and it's very quick and easy as long as you make sure that you do everything step by step. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to send me a message or mine. Otherwise, good luck and have a great day.